Good morning.
Good morning.
Here we are.
Yippee!
Yippee.
Way.
Roz says yippee. And Johnny says wee.
And now we know also who Tussereen is.
Tussereen is also
Built. Something like that.
We're working on it. Be patient with us. These two named people make it kind of feel, there's Violet who is Teria. And so it's just, It makes it kind of.
Wow, everyone is in there. Woohoo, way!
Oh my, look who's there.
What?
Jordan is there. Woohoo! Wow.
Is that the local Jordan?
That's our local Jordan.
Hello, local Jordan.
We have our own local Jordan.
I met him. I didn't know his last name was Greg.
Craig. Anyway, and there's Mr. Bonavara.
Good morning, Mr. Bonavara.
And Buen Guillermo.
I think that is Portuguese.
She's trying to impress us.
Yeah.
She's pretty
Bertil,
smart.
there it is.
Bertil,
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, goedemiddag. Ook Nelly, goedemiddag.
Goedemiddag, Nelly. Roseanne says hello. Hello. And there's Kelly. Oh dear, I got the time wrong.
Well, we're just starting.
What do you mean you got the time wrong? It's right now.
Right on time. We're just starting.
Yeah, this is perfect timing.
Yeah.
Oh dear, I got the time wrong. What does that mean, I got the time wrong? Here you are.
Hello, Violet Teria.
Hello, Violet Teria.
Teria, Violet.
Whoever you are.
AK, indeed.
AKA. Okay. So here we are.
You?
So what do you want to talk about this month?
Nothing comes up in my mind.
Oh, what would you like to talk about though?
Nothing comes to mind.
Nothing comes up to my mind?
No.
Goedemiddag.
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 Very good, Simon G.
Goedemiddag.
Always could have a little bit more, but you're doing really well with the
Goedemiddag.
Yeah. And it ends with him too, right? It's a beautiful
Goedemiddag.
Goedemiddag. Very nice. How's your throat? Well,
so anyway,
we asked June yesterday. We were having dosas.
Yes.
And we asked June, what should we talk about today? And she said, nothing comes up in my mind.
We said, well, it's weird, but okay.
Okay, we'll do that.
Hi,
June.
There is June. Yeah.
Oh, she said, oh no, it is live, Kelly. Facebook is not clear. Yes. So live now. Yes. You are live with us.
Facebook is not clear.
I think it's trying to say that she's not interpreting it clearly.
She interpretating?
Yes.
Interpretating. Or interpreting. I guess it doesn't matter what it is.
It doesn't matter. Everyone understands me though.
So what's that phrase? Nothing
comes up in my mind.
In my mind. Nothing comes up in my mind. That's a nice state to be in though, isn't it?
That's what I thought.
Of course.
But
if we're still able to say the words, nothing comes up in my mind, it's nice, it's quiet, but it's still not turiya.
Yes.
It's still not self-realization.
So it's an intriguing thing then that we think that there's nothing to perceive, yet at the moment of not perceiving anything, we do perceive something.
Well, and it's probably that this line between conscious and unconscious is working quite well.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yes.
So nothing is coming up to my mind. When we say that, we're naturally, of course, referring to the conscious waking state mind, which means I have a nice thick wall between my unconscious and my conscious.
Yes.
A nice thick wall. Nilesh is coming closer.
It's too far.
It's too far. He was way over there.
And the couch is very deep also. So
yeah, the couch is deep.
That's a deep couch. It just kind of swallows you up.
Even from...
We need to look under that thing. Maybe the thing has slipped and fallen down under there.
Okay, well, look.
Because there's boards under there to hold it.
Yeah.
And something else under there. And
you know what we also could do once?
It's actually an old couch.
We can exchange it with my couch in my room upstairs.
No, I don't think we need. We can, but if you want, but
it's exactly
we need to go under there, and the thing actually broke a couple of years ago, and so we put boards under there, if you remember.
The label above says Sunday Satsang. 1 hour be live, giving the impression that it was about an hour. Johnny says.
Well,
I don't know how to respond to that.
I know how to respond to that. The thing is that the date stamp on that announcement is the date stamp of the time that I put it on there.
Uh-huh.
And it was at 8:29 that I put that up there?
Probably so, after brekkie.
I think, was it after breakfast? Yeah. And so it does not correct that date. If I do it the day before, that's when it's really confusing. So I've gotten in the habit that I don't actually put that on there until a couple hours before we're going live. And if you were to have looked in the middle of the gray box, it would have told you that there's going to be a live thing at so-and-so time. But what you were looking at is the Facebook date stamp that tells you the time that it was put up there in the first place.
As Roseanne said, it's adjusting in the box, in the gray box with the logo, and it changes your times to your time zone.
To your time zone.
When it's telling you when you are going, for your time, when we're going live.
Well, now where is it now? Yeah. I'm going over here to look and see to make sure that I'm right in what I said there.
Yeah, so it is saying next to Swamiji's name that we right now are live. So Swamiji is live. And otherwise it says Swamiji is going to be live. And when it's done, then it just becomes
but
recording.
Before this is here, there's a gray box.
Yeah, and that was live. So there.
And
also
in the middle of the gray box, it says the time of the transmission, of the broadcast.
Yeah.
But what you're probably accustomed to looking at is the Facebook date stamp of when it was posted.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a quirk of the technology that there's no way around it.
Yeah.
Because so if I post today, if I post right now a meeting announcement of one of these right now for tomorrow, for Leela. If I post a thing for Leela, which is going to be 6 hours from right now, it will have a date stamp of, what time is it? 10:12, 10:10 in the morning. And that would lead somebody to believe, oh, we're going to be, I missed it. They were online with Leela at 10:10 this morning. And it's now 10:20, so I missed it by 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you see that gray box from the Be Live Facebook people, if you see that box, it will tell you right in the middle of the box that we'll be live at 10 o'clock or whatever it is.
And so Kelly was very lucky.
So Kelly was very lucky. It's just you saw us talking and thought you missed it because you saw that time.
Because I also remember once someone was thinking that we were live and they were just watching a rerun. And so after half an hour, oh no, they were watching an old show, an old episode or live broadcasting. And then the person came and said, "Oh, here you are, really live. I was watching the other one as if you were live." That was kind of
Live, you cannot pause.
Huh?
You cannot pause the live.
Yeah.
You cannot pause.
But that was
live.
way in the beginning. I mean, it's all
We're live right now. You cannot pause us
Us.
now, Nellie. No, who was that?
Kelly.
Kelly. Nellie
Yeah.
Kelly. You
Yeah.
get your Ellies mixed up.
Ellie.
That was Kelly.
Unless we just pause ourselves.
Can we pause ourselves? I don't know. I don't think we can.
No, we can pretend to not move for a
You can
while.
go in Turiya and then pause.
We can freeze.
Okay.
Okay.
See, we paused.
I had the same, Kelly and Johnny. Aha. But let me start where we left off. Leela says hi. Hi, Leela.
Hi, Leela.
So I hope that helps for just to. It's a quirk indeed.
Well, but it's one that it makes perfect sense. It puts the date stamp of the time the post goes
that's how
on to the
Facebook
group.
works.
And that's when it went on.
So, but the gray box speaks for itself. Well, it would be interesting to speak of how to live in this present Vaishnara of divisiveness and hated politics in the conscious state. Politics in the conscious state. How does one bring forth positivity and less divisiveness? I was attempting to put forth more joy on my Facebook page.
Then put it forth. Another answer is it's called sadhana. Leela is saying several highs. What did Johnny mention that's not a biggie?
Oh, about the date stamp. He was.
Oh,
there.
yeah. No, that was just adding to the conversation.
Yeah.
But you noticed it before. That means you learned from it and you figured out what it was all about. There's Rojo.
Yeah, she's watching with a cat on her belly.
How do you know?
That's nice.
I'm watching with a cat on my belly. I'm watching with a mob beside me.
I'm not going to be laying on your belly.
I don't have a cat.
No, that's a good thing.
Anyway, so we're supposed to be talking about nothing comes to my mind.
Yes. And you were holding up the circle diagram because you were about to point out that if nothing comes, we speak about the conscious mind.
It means it's all going on back here and it's not coming forward.
Yes. And then I was about to say, which you didn't know, but I'm going to now.
I'm ready. I'm ready to hear your wisdom.
Is that I have had, I don't remember the exact.
Just spit it out.
No, that I thought I was getting pretty advanced in my practice by having this, by sitting here and by just resonating and being with mantra and everything. And I have to say it was, of course, a long time ago. But then Samji said, "Oh, then you're doing something." How did you say? Because you didn't say I was doing something wrong. He said, "I want you to be able to flood this with thoughts anytime, in a sense, open up this and
open
then now
the door.
Open the door and let it come." And so to not have that, it was more relation to it was in relation to the kleshas, like there's allow them to come as strong as they are, allow them to come forward. And that I remember was a hit in a sense, or a wow, an awakening to the sense that, yes, we are trying to calm the conscious mind. That is a skill in itself. But if we then on top of that not have the ability to make the thoughts flow in their natural speed, that And then we miss something.
So we calm the conscious mind so that we can open the door to the unconscious.
Because it's calming in relation to
in
how
some
we
sense
do
that seems counterintuitive.
Complete-
Most of us will think, oh, I'm making great progress. I'm such an advanced meditator. I've been only doing this for so long, and I have this very, very quiet, calm mind. And this can be true. If we think that the goal of meditation is what's commonly called in modern vernacular stress management, if the goal is, after my busy day, I want to make my conscious mind quiet, and that's the goal of meditation, then okay.
Yeah.
But it will never lead to self-realization. It will never lead to the Atman.
No. And so if someone asks you, what do you want, for example, and you would repeat, or you would say, well, nothing comes to mind, indeed it shows that could be something to play with, because we're loaded with little things we want that are stored here. Today is I saw Leela's post, so what do you want? And it relates to the small and the biggies. The big.
You better, if you're going to say that, not everybody watches that.
Yeah, so Leela once in a while posts the internal dialogue of the day or the daily goal of the day, and it's just priming the prompt with a question to start having an internal dialogue with yourself, learning to allow the inner wisdom.
But you started
come
to say
forward.
something about Biggie,
Yes.
I
And
think
so
probably
one of
some
them
people don't know what you're talking about.
that comes forward once every week or so is the question, what do I want? And the what do I want is a question that can allow the small desires to come forward, or it provides a way to allow the one big thing in life, what the purpose is, what you really, 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 really want to come forward.
See, like when you just said that, I asked myself, what do I want? And what came to my mind was a chocolate hummus toast with jelly on it.
Yes.
What? So what happened to enlightenment?
What happened to enlightenment, indeed? What happened to wake up? What happened to being free? Right, Roseanne?
What happened to all those
free.
things? What do I want?
Yes.
I want a chocolate hummus toast with jelly.
You want it?
I'm not, no. See, there's the beauty of it. The question there for the yogi is, what is my desire world like? It does not mean, okay, well, it's come forward, therefore I have to stop doing this and go feed that desire.
That's a custom we have in this culture.
That's a cultural custom that as soon as I have a desire, it means it must be fulfilled right now. Sometimes it's just a question. What is the nature of my desire world internally?
I want a hot cup of chocolate.
And so,
warm feet.
So then we need to understand ourselves, which is merely a question of what is the nature of my desire world versus which one of those desires am I actually wanting, stuck with words, to fulfill right now. So I don't know if she actually is saying that she, see here the problem with words when we say want, I don't know if she's just making a comment that she has in her unconscious coming forward, you know, that hot chocolate came forward here and she says, that's interesting, I want that. You know, if she suddenly said, I want to go to Hawaii this afternoon, I think that we would all be sitting here know that that was just a statement of her desire world. You know, if I said, well, you know what I want, Ma?
What do you want?
I want to drop in on Nellie for tea in an hour.
Oh, yeah, because she makes really good tea.
Yeah, let's go drop in and see at Nellie's house and have a cup of tea.
That's fun. Actually, now that you bring it up, I instantly would like to join you with that.
Yes, okay, and maybe she has some chocolate hummus toast with jelly. That would be nice, sitting with a hot cup of tea with a chocolate hummus toast with jelly.
Nellie and Kelly.
With Nellie and Kelly, let's put them together.
Yeah, I would not want to choose.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
I mean, we're playing, but hear the difference. You know,
And Mir.
and Mir, and Mir's coming
Mir
too.
too, yes.
Mir's
Let's
coming
all
too.
go to Nelly for
Let's
tea.
all, you know, let's all go to Nellie's house for tea, okay? Now, we all know that that's just a statement of the mental desire world. But when she says, I want a hot chocolate,
it's closer in the proximity to be able to be fulfilled now.
She could go get up from the couch right now and go fulfill that desire. So
but then I have a conflicting desire.
Which meaning was behind her sentence that says, I want a hot chocolate?
And only I know that.
And only she can determine that internally. But if you go make one for me too.
Yes, but there's two desires now because I want to sit here on the couch.
And you want to go
I want to go make hot chocolate.
Yeah, I know.
So I think it's going to be, that is going to be good scheduling that right after the satsang, I'll make a hot chocolate.
Okay, maybe I'll have it. Me too.
Tea with Nelly. Yeah. You're welcome, Nelly says.
Leela says, me too. Yeah, okay.
And Nelly says, I want for weeks already a fried egg, but I keeping to let it go.
And actually what you said, Nelly, is very astute, because this is one of the parts of what we all need to do when we are attenuating the coloring of the kleshas, our attachments and attractions and aversions and fears. This is what we're trying to do. This is the reason that we want it to come forward. Instead of saying nothing comes up to my mind, we say, but I want it to come up to my mind. Why? So that I can practice sitting here in my mind and doing no action in relation to it. What was it? Fried egg.
Fried egg.
So you're sitting here, it sounds kind of disgusting, but so what it means is what I need to do, if I'm having a fried egg habit and I know I have figured out that it's terrible for my health. A bucket of eitje. Sounds like a bucket of ice. A habaka bika. And so if I have come to see that the eggs are causing me a health problem and that I need to stop eating eggs, well, if I suppress that and push it back and I don't see it, then there's a pretty good chance that I'm going to go back to egg eating, because it has not been attenuated and neutralized at the deepest level of my memory. However, if I'm a good yogi, I will sit there and I will allow the memory of those fried eggs to come to mind. And when they come to mind, I am aware right now that there is a latent desire in my unconscious to eat fried eggs. I know it because here it is. It's just now it's come in front of me. It has come into my conscious mind and now it's in front of me. But think about this. Here's the beauty of it. What if that desire for the fried eggs comes up in front of me? I allow it to come in front of me and I intentionally sit there with it and I say, okay, you desire for fried eggs, I'm not going to go to the kitchen. I'm not going to the store and buying eggs. I'm not going to feed into you.
Interesting, as the wintertime triggers the fried egg desire. So it's in the summer, it just rests there latent, dormant.
Yeah,
you might think
here comes
you're done.
The cold weather
here
and
comes
the
the
snow.
Cold weather and poof, egg pops up.
Eggs pop up. Yeah. And so then what can happen? What might happen to it if we allow it to come forward? It may get weaker because we're not feeding into it. And this is the process of attenuating the klesha. And we want to do that. But if we just put up the wall and we say, no, I don't have any fried eggs coming to mind. No eggs are coming up in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're really good at doing that.
Yeah, all of us.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way minds operate.
Yeah. Also with Leela, well, if I may repeat what Leela was writing in that post without people having to go back to that post, one of the things that stuck with me with that she was saying was the fear of allowing these things to come forward.
Yes.
Because, being in a nice, calm, conscious mind is very pleasant, and thus to consciously sort of allowing this to be disturbed, or think like, what is going to come forward? Can I handle it? Am I strong enough?
May I throw in an or to what you just said? You just said it's nice to be in a quiet, calm, conscious mind. Or think about this. Isn't it often true that your mind seems to be quiet and I'm not thinking about anything, but somehow I have an unknown reason I feel a restlessness?
Yes.
I feel tension. I feel stress. I feel a sense of worry, but nothing comes to mind. Nothing is coming to my mind. I don't know why that is there.
Yes.
And when that
even
happens,
that we could be insensitive to, but
so I'm just saying that sometimes sitting with a conscious mind that seems to be quiet is not so relaxing.
Yes, because still there's stuff going on here that in some ways
it's what we don't see. It's what we don't know.
Yes.
It is very strongly colored. It is a big samskara sitting there resting in the deep unconscious mind. And I think, no, I'm quiet. Nothing's bothering me. I'm fine. How are you today? Fine. Swami Rama said he'd stand in front of a hospital and ask people, how are you today? Fine. Well, why are you going to the hospital? And I mean, this is the way our minds work. So we can think that we're having a nice, quiet, conscious mind. This came to my mind because Mahatri said something about how nice it is to have a quiet, calm, conscious mind. And I just went, wait a minute, sometimes that's not true. Sometimes the mind is very troubled, and the person will say, I have no idea, something's bothering me, but I have no idea what it is. And so then you go to a therapist or a psychologist and sit there, you do talk therapy. Why? Because that person is trying to make you feel safe in this environment and comfortable so you can be calm and so that you can allow to leak forward from the unconscious mind the nature of what's bothering you. Then you can do talk therapy over it.
It seems to be that within the practice, I've noticed there's just these flows of periods that there's times when whatever floats around in the mind field has attenuated so much that it seems to be, if I playfully say that vairagyam is higher than the amount of stuff that flows by, and then new stuff appears, and then that seems to be then what just is disturbing the mind, and then that has to be then the fire again of purifying that.
And note too here that you said something about the level of vairagya, the level of non-attachment was higher.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just want to playfully, lovingly challenge that. That's backwards. You don't have a higher level of non-attachment. If you say it like that, it makes it sound like non-attachment is a thing, and I can have more non-attachment. That's not what non-attachment is. It just simply does not work like that. Non-attachment means the absence of attachment. It's not the addition of a thing. This is one of the core principles. Early on in Yoga Sutras, Patanjali talks about two foundation principles, abhyasa and vairagya, non-attachment. And so we can accidentally end up thinking, I need more non-attachment. I need more non-attachment. No, no, no. That's not what we need more of. What we need is, listen carefully, what we need is less attachment. It's not that there is a substance called non-attachment. There is no substance called attachment. There is something called attachment. If I take the hot chocolate memory that is residing in my mind or my brain, however you hold that, and that has been colored with yummy, and I really, really like it, and it's strong enough. If it gets strong enough, we all will culturally agree. Let's call that addiction. And before you know it, I have to go to Hot Chocolate Anonymous meetings because I'm addicted to hot chocolate. I'm just saying, it's not that we're gaining a new thing called non-attachment.
No. So thanks for saying
it's
that.
The cessation
in
of,
different words saying the same is that sometimes there seems to be floods coming from the unconscious, and other moments practice in life seems to be all just more squishy. But that means that we're keeping the door then more closed.
Annika says, and also the habit of feeling the fear and the mind do not want to let that go out of habit. It's a very intriguing and subtle and accurate point that you're making, Annika. If we get sufficiently caught up in fear of a bunch of different situations, then what happens is in our unconscious mind, we're loaded with fear and we don't know it. But it's familiar. It's known to me. Fear is familiar. And if something happens that fear is not with me today, I feel a sense of loss. So strange as it sounds, we can literally be attached to the emotion of fear. We can become addicted to fear.
I am fear.
And then we're doing stupid things around to create more fear. It playfully said, go to a game park where you get on a ride and it spins and it puts you upside down and you almost fall out of your seat, right? And you feel weightless. People get on that thing and they take the ride. And what's everybody doing? You know, you go down the roller coaster, and when it goes over down the big thing, what does everybody do? They put their hands up in the air and they scream, ah! And so you have a whole ride filled with people, hands in the air, and they're all screaming. And then they finish the ride, and what do? Get back in the queue to do the ride again. And so what's the ride actually doing? It's evoking fear. I'm not saying that we should not play and enjoy rides and all that. I'm not saying that. But it's a playful example of how we like fear.
And stress nervous system.
Some people absolutely love monster movies. You know, the latest monster movie that just has these really outrageous characters. And there's some of these, there's a certain person drags me to these movies sometimes, and you'll notice that in a 10-second period, 100 people were murdered. And so these are very, very popular. I'm not trying to say to people they shouldn't go to movies, they should enjoy going to, but there are examples all around us. What?
Raj had the same thought.
Yeah, Raj is right in tune there. You got it. Yeah. So we can actually have attachment to fear. You're exactly right, Annika. Yes.
And Terry says, wow, addicted to fear. I'm going to take that out for a spin. Thanks, Hamidi.
You're going to take it out for a spin. You're going to go out and maybe you can drive your car fast on the Chicago ice, huh? I've been in a car on some of that ice in Chicago. It's terrifying. But I wouldn't want to do it just for the fun of it. But I can imagine that some would. Kelly tells Annika, I get it. I've heard it called the pain body. Okay, fine. So it's called the pain body. Now we understand it. We've given it a name. It's called the pain body. Nothing comes to my mind. It's an intriguing contemplation that June stumbled into saying. I mean, I could feel when June said that, we said, what should we talk about tomorrow? And she said, I could feel internally why do I have that thumb drive sitting there? Do you know?
Oh, I was laying underneath the thing, so I put it up.
Okay, good. I'll have to check what's on that, see why I have that there. But I could feel the impetus when June said that to sort of go, no, let's come up with a topic. I mean, I could feel that. And then all of a sudden I said, wait a minute, there's a topic. Mm-hmm. I don't know where it's going to go, but let's have a conversation about it. But so there's something to it. Mm-hmm. What was it again?
Nothing comes up in my mind.
Nothing comes up in my mind.
Nothing comes to my mind.
Nothing comes to my mind.
That experiment that you do, Samadi, with asking us to think of a friend, think of I think of a fruit.
There's
always a bridge in there, because
I like bridges.
You like bridges. Think of this, think of that. And for most of us know that experiment. That is one of the ways to allow thoughts to flow forward from the unconscious to the conscious mind.
It's a good experiment is literally to sit down and intentionally ask your mind to give you a thought.
Yeah.
You say, okay, mind, okay, thoughts come.
Because often when we have done this experiment...
Can you do me a favor?
I can.
Would you go in the library, and on the left shelf, just beside where that wire is, in that next shelf, is one of the Swami Rama teachings booklets, the old printed ones.
I was not quick enough to make a hot chocolate on the way. But...
Yeah, I know. I noticed that. I was hoping.
Huh?
No.
No, we'll just wait. It's okay.
We'll wait.
Incidentally, 3 o'clock in the morning last night, I did this exercise. I woke up and then, got into this.
Good.
I'm looking for something. This is that booklet. This is in PDF format on my website, and it's on the Ashram Facebook group. There you can download it. It's UPTSR, Understanding Practice Teaching Swami Rama. And it's a collection of quotes that I put together during the year of 1997.
Violet has a nice comment a little back. I feel like a general theme in the table talk group and these satsangs for all of us is this attenuating of the clashes and all of our samskaras just bubbling out. It is most helpful to talk about all of this.
Well, yes, Teria, and what you just said, the reason for that is because this is the entire subject and process called yoga. Yeah. It's the entire ball game. That's this is it. And so for those of you who are participating in the table talk and having those conversations, that's why I so appreciate your participation, because you're actively talking about kleshas. And that is, I have asked certified yoga teachers to tell me about the kleshas. I've never had one yoga teacher be able to tell me anything about kleshas. And it's the central principle of yoga. Anyway, that's my rant for the moment.
And if I may, I think I know where Johnny, and maybe I should not even go into this, that some call the totality of the collection of samskaras the pain body, but that, it's just
there's all sorts of names.
Sorts of names of it, but I don't think it's...
Let's give it an identity and call it a body.
A body, indeed. Thank you. That's what I...
And Teria mentions what Ragini was talking about. That's because Ragini comes from this tradition. And so she quite naturally, that's why I asked her if she would get online with me and have some of these conversations, because I wanted all of you to hear some of this stuff being said through the mouth of some other people. I've asked several other people that I've known for years that I think could have something to say to do this with me, and a few have declined. Ragini sees the value of it and is enjoying it thoroughly. And I'm going to do some more of that over time. But anyway, that's what...
Unfortunately, the sound was not...
Yeah, we tried it with... Anyway.
And then June is saying, you are doing a great job of relating even that blank statement...
That blank statement.
To how we can make some good practice.
Yeah, well, thank you, June, for the idea.
Yeah.
And so this is... in life, we are surrounded by examples of how to witness and observe the kleshas, the samskaras, and how to attenuate them.
blanks.
And this is the reason for the principle of how we can cultivate constant awareness. We run into this terminology, how can I do that? I need more time for meditation. I have a busy life. No, you already have 24 hours in a day.
Just
you don't
like
need more time.
Else.
Just like you don't need 36 hours in a day to do this. But I need more time for my meditation. I think I'm going to quit my job and go live in an ashram. Can I come live with you guys? No. Live in your own. Please, no. Go live in your own home. Or go to somebody's big ashram and give them a lot of money to pay rent to stay and do all that sort of. But we already have 24 hours in a day. And so when with people, again, I appreciate the people going to the table talk and having these open dialogues there with one another. And if anybody that's in the table talk, I've made this offer quite a few times and few have taken me up on it. If you want, I will get on there. We will transmit a conversation together to the table talk group like we did with Ragini yesterday. Was that yesterday? Yeah, it was just yesterday. It seems like forever ago now. And so we can do some of that kind of stuff. And the table talk group is the best place to do that. So if anybody wants to play that way, all you have to do is have Chrome browser. I don't know why. It's the technical aspect. You have to have Chrome browser. And you have to have a camera, a webcam, and you have to have a microphone, which all the computers do now. I remembered this thing that I put together from some Swami Rama quotes here. And so I entitled this Thoughts and Questions. When I made this thing, I made some individual handouts that I was using in residential programs that I was trying to do and put together and run in Rishikesh in India. And I made some individual handouts. And the situation in the ashram was going on such that it was getting harder and harder for me to be able to schedule these retreats for other reasons that don't matter here. And so I took these handouts. At one point, I took these handouts and I collected them together and I made it into this booklet. And I walked down the street, and the man who owned the hotel down the street had a printing shop down in his basement, so a little separate little business. And so I had barely enough money. I had enough money, it wasn't really a lot, to get 1,000 of these printed. And I started giving them away, and I've got like 6 left. And somewhere along the way, 10 years ago, the idea came, put it in a PDF file and put it online. And I don't know how many times it's been downloaded now. Last time I saw a number, it was something like 100,000 times it had been downloaded. Anyway, you can still.
Rosalind still has the handouts.
Roz still has the handouts. Rosalind was there. That's when she and I met. Was, as I remember, I think she and I met in the winter. I think it was January of '97 that we met. She came to one of those things we were doing. Anyway, and then, or was it? It must have been after that. It must have been fall of '97. Or maybe it was 98 after this was printed. If you had this, yeah, that's when it was.
It's 10:45.
Anyway, so there's a little thing there, and see, it says thoughts and questions. And there's a little guy there. See, there's a little stick figure meditator guy, and there's these little crudely made birds flying around. And they're called this thoughts and questions, thoughts, questions. And so there's just these questions and thoughts flying around. I made the little cartoon there. But here's what Swami Rama has to say. In meditation, you sit down quietly and repeat mantra. During that period of meditation, your mind remains one-pointed. But after that, your mind goes back again to its same previous grooves. This is not the full process of meditation. Listen to this. The full process of meditation is a whole life process. Meditation means to attend. It means attention to the whole of life. It should not be a strenuous act. It should not be forced. Your whole life can be one of meditation. Did you hear that? Your whole life can be one of meditation. People often ask me how they can do this. My method is to consider some question that is on my mind. I have questions concerning the welfare of my students because that is my life's work. For example, perhaps I think of someone who is a very quiet person and I want him to become a good teacher. Perhaps this question comes to me. What shall I do with him? What shall I tell him? When such questions that are pending in my mind come to me, I say to them, quote, okay, come. What you do when such thoughts come is try to think of mantra. This means that you try to use mantra to avoid and escape from certain situations. Then when you have done mantra for a while, your mind again goes back to the same worry. That is not helpful. Instead, let everything come before you for a decision. Just watch. Let everything come forward. Now, here's another part down here. I'll read this to you too. What a fantastic reminder. Yes, Roz, it's good stuff, isn't it? Listen to this. Early in the morning, right after I get up, I go to the bathroom and prepare for meditation. And then I sit down. I ask my mind what I have to do. And then I set up a dialogue with myself. Sit down quietly and ask yourself, quote, what do I want? When you do this, you will find that there are two types of desires. The simple daily wants, like hot chocolate, and the higher desires.
Whee!
The two types of desires are mingled together. Listen, here's good advice. It's strong. Do not let yourself suppress the mundane thoughts by reacting, oh, what am I thinking? I should not think like that. That is not helpful. Instead, let the thought come before you and become a sort of observer. Start observing your own mind. I'm going to tell you a little story here. The reason I started teaching this stuff like this in those retreat programs there, Swamiji asked me to start doing this. And the reason I did all this sort of stuff is because I had spent a few years around a whole bunch of people who had been claiming to be students of this tradition in Swami Rama for many years. And I never, ever heard anybody talk like this. Not one person. None of the senior faculty or so-called teachers, etc. The only person I ever met who talked like this was the guy telling us what to do, Swami Rama. And it troubled me. Why is it I never hear anybody else talking about this other than the boss? Anyway. Oh, I should not think like this. That is not helpful. Let the thought come before you and become a sort of observer. We're almost down to the bottom. Start observing your own mind. Do not try to escape. Do not be afraid of your own thinking. The way to work with intruding thoughts is to let each thought come. Whether it is good or bad, let it come. Simply decide that whatever comes, you will not be disturbed. It's the disturbing quality that's the problem. It's not the problem that the thought is coming. The problem is that I'm disturbed by the thought. Let the thought come and make a resolution that I will not be disturbed. It's a very, very important point. Before I practice meditation, listen to this. Before I practice meditation, I allow all such thoughts, both good and bad, to come into my mind, meaning my conscious mind, and then go away because they are only thoughts. The first lesson in this practice is to simply allow the thoughts to arise. Then, secondly, bring back before yourself that which is important. So if I have 100 thoughts go through my mind and 98 of them are stupid and a complete waste of time, but 2 of them are useful, then bring back those 2. Say, that's a pretty good idea. I think I'm going to take a look at that. I think I'm going to think about it. So I'm going to read that again, because it's got a first and a second, so our logical minds can take it in. The first lesson in this practice is to simply allow the thoughts to arise. Then, secondly, bring back before yourself that which is important. You can do this. It does not require any advanced practice of meditation. I'll give you a little tip here. That is the advanced meditation. In my practice, when all the thoughts have gone through the mind, then I sit down and start to remember mantra. Usually you try to remember your mantra from the very beginning, and there are those consultations, and there are those thoughts waiting for your consultation, but you do not pay attention to them. Then the thoughts are coming and going in your mind, and you are trying to repeat mantra. And the more the thoughts come, the more you repeat mantra. And the result is an internal battle. That is not helpful. You need not do that. That's the last word. So there it is. There's the whole process said in some other beautifully said, eloquent words. I can tell you the moment, literally the moment that I finally understood this myself. I'm no great person. One day I was walking with Swami Rama. And Swamiji said to me just out of nowhere, he said, use no willpower to cause mantra to come. Use no willpower to cause mantra to come. And I said something really intelligent like, huh. And we walked, and my huh simply meant, okay, I heard you. But I didn't know what he meant. So walked a few more steps, and out of my mouth came, Swamiji, what if it never comes? His response was, eventually it will. And it was one of the most difficult instructions that I was ever given. Simple words. It would have been so easy to say, yeah, okay, got it. Okay, I heard the instruction. Use no will, yeah. And then go back to jabbering, talking, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. And the effect is using mantra or some other distraction as a battering ram to push away the thoughts, to keep them in the unconscious. I don't want them out here. That's what we can, in effect, do. We can do that with singing, with kirtan, with chanting, with prayers, with mantra repetition. What we actually are doing is trying to put a wall up and block the unconscious to keep it from coming and bothering me. And then I can say, I'm being quiet. I'm being quiet. No, Terry, I can't repeat that. You'll have to watch the replay. She asked if I could repeat it all. No, it's a whole page. I'm not going to reread it. Anyway, so he said, eventually it will come. And what I had to figure out how to do, it sort of was crazy making for a while, because I would sit there and it forced me to have to allow thoughts to come, to let the thoughts come and do nothing with them. Do absolutely nothing with the thoughts. Because now I could not just repeat mantra to blast the thoughts away. I had run into too many people around who were supposedly students of Swami Rama's and the tradition, and were teaching faculty who were telling people, use your mantra. Oh, teacher, how do I get rid of these thoughts? Use your mantra. Use your mantra. Repeat mantra. Mantra will make the thoughts go away. I knew a couple people who had said to me that they were having this problem, and they went to one of the pundits and said, not just one pundit, but one of several pundits who were around, and said, "Oh, Panditji, I'm having trouble with distracting thoughts. What can I do?" And they would be given a mantra with 100 syllables. 100 syllables. Gayatri mantra has only 24. So this will really blast the thoughts away. Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsvato Varenyam Bhago Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. And you just use that as a battering ram. It's a beautiful divine mantra. It's not supposed to be used as a hammer. And I had met many people doing that. This is the way you get rid of thoughts. Sorry, that's not what the boss. Why are we not listening to the dude that we're all saying is enlightened? Instead, we want photographs of him to put it on our altar so I can go, "Oh, Guruji, what do I need to do to get enlightened?" He tells us, and then we ignore the teachings. First, allow the thoughts to arise, and then so that you can practice being not disturbed. And initially, what happens is not that you are not disturbed, you are insanely disturbed. You feel like you're absolutely going crazy. This is called tapas. This is called tapas. It's the third niyama. Before you even do the rest of the rungs, we have to understand tapas, which means fire. It's riding through the firestorm of sadhana. And the fire is the emotional pain, the anguish that we feel when, okay, I can't batter it away. I have to allow the thoughts to come, what I just read to you. I have to allow it to come so that I can practice being not disturbed. How the hell do I do that? Well, you become undisturbed by allowing yourself to become disturbed and realize, I'm going nuts. I'm going crazy. This crap in my unconscious mind is disturbing. Most of it's trivial. It's really no big deal. It's trivial, but it's disturbing to me. How do I get it to go away? No. Don't try to get it to go away. Ride through the storm. This is the principle. And then when he finally told me to do that, I said, I told you, what if it never comes? He said, eventually it will come. And I thought eventually was going to be lifetimes and eternity. But it turned out, I don't know what it took, weeks, a couple months from the time so it really helped open the gate to advancing in meditation. Simple advice. And I just read it to you here out of this thing. This is the reason I put this stuff together. And I have been trying my dead level best for years to get people to understand this stuff and do it. And so still over and over, I say this now, I'm not complaining about people. I'm saying it with compassion because I don't know why, but there was a certain point in my sadhana along the way that I made a decision. I said, I finally in my life, I'm sitting here, I have somebody in my life who is trying to help me. And I'm going to stop listening to all the certified teachers, and I don't give a damn what the pundits say. This is who I'm going to listen to. And I am not by nature as a personality a blind faith guru follower. I am not. It's not my nature. But here's a dude that's giving me some, and this is what we're talking about. So am I going to do it? And I said, I'm going to just do it as best I can. And after some period of time, I realized that, wow, mantra really does arise. Japa is a different practice. You repeat mantra as japa to plant the seeds in the unconscious. But when it's time for meditation, that's not time for japa. Japa, roll the mala beads. I've done that. I've done a lot of that. Roll the mala beads, repeat the mantra. I did my Mahapurush Charna of Gayatri mantra, 2.4 million rounds. It took 3 years. 5, 6, 7 hours a day for 3 years is what it takes to do that practice. Very few people will do that practice, and it's okay. People have busy lives. But I've done a lot of japa. The japa plants the seed. We keep talking Om Tat Sat, Om Namah Shivaya. We keep talking these mantras. Very, very useful thing to do. But when it comes to meditation time, don't use mantra to blast away the thinking. Do what we just read here. allow the thoughts to arise so that you can practice being undisturbed. How do you practice being undisturbed? You get disturbed and you recognize, wow, I'm disturbed. This stuff's driving me crazy. I'm going to ride through the storm. And as he told me, eventually it will quiet on its own. And then it quiets not because I put up a wall. It's not because of putting up a wall or blasting away with a hammer called mantra. It's because it finally just wears itself out and it gets quiet. And then the mantra that has been planting in the deep unconscious through the japa practice, it just comes forward.
And then it can really lead you.
And then that mantra can have a leading quality that leads us back to where we're trying to come from. Then it will come forward and it will lead us back from where it comes from. But if we build this wall here and we say, don't come forward, I'm busy meditating out here, we're not meditating. We may be doing stress management, modern meditation that's taught in business corporations and gymnasiums and things like that, that's quieting the conscious mind, but it will never lead us to this. We have to allow this to come forward so that we can learn to practice being undisturbed by it, and then gradually this will come. No need to put up a wall. I feel another sign coming on.
I don't know if that's related politics or a sign in the ashram. I'm not sure. Kelly says, I find it very nice that you have so many stories of your experiences with or without Swamiji. It makes all the knowledge often better to understand and very nice to listen to.
I know. Yes, that's why they're there. In some sense, what we have is our own life, and our own life story is a part of it.
After a while, I get sort of used to the storms, the fires, and they can come and they go with less and less disturbances, but there seems to be a catch to it. The storms and fires get bigger and more frequent, sort of like inner global warming, haha, but the ultimate stillness and silence is coming because I ain't giving up.
Yeah, no, well said. And this is why when we do this, when we're willing to embark on the experiment that says, no, it may have been decades of sitting for meditation and pushing away thoughts. And we say, finally, 30 years later, finally, I'm going to sit here and allow my unconscious to come forward. I'm going to give it a try. And then it's common, what Leela just said there, everybody, it's common that then you say the firestorm comes. I thought I was making great advancement because I had a quiet, conscious mind and blah, blah, blah. And now, where is this coming from? And so it's the samskaras that, as I just read the Swami Rama quote, they're in the unconscious and we're not paying them any attention. And so they just sit there. Why is it that so many people in our world have what I know is commonly called a midlife crisis? And all of a sudden a person hits 40, 50 years old, somewhere in there, and there's an explosion of the desire world coming forward. I want to own more things. One of the things I've noticed around here is that men, it's very common for men my age to be going over to the Harley Davidson motorcycle store and buying a big motorcycle that makes a lot of noise so they can get out on the road and vroom around. Because when they were children, my age people, when they were children, mother and father says, no, motorcycles are dangerous, you can't have one. So now he hits 50, 60 years old and he wants a motorcycle. There's a shopping area about 2 miles away from here that the motorcycle company goes out there on the weekends and they use the parking lot of the shopping center, and they have, orange ropes up around, and they train people how to ride these motorcycles. So if you go give them $20,000 to buy the big motorcycle, they will take you out there, and now they will give you free training on how to drive it. And so I've never done that. I don't have that desire. I hope if I go crazy all of a sudden I want to go get a Harley, wake me up. slap me or something, you know.
You heard it all.
You heard it.
Yeah,
Whap.
Yes.
Whap. Wake up, Swamiji.
Yeah,
Wake up. But I'm just using that as
put
a
it in the fire,
silly
Swamiji.
example.
Put it in the fire.
But
Mir wants one. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Mir wants one.
Yeah, but he has one, but he wants a bigger one.
He already has. There you go, Mir.
He wants a bigger one.
Allow the desire to come forward. Meditate on it. And learn to be undisturbed by the desire. I wasn't thinking about when you said that.
No, but I remember he says it there. And Terry was saying that the sign was that she made a sign with last satsang, and so this won't be her new sign. So she's making signs at her house about the satsangs. Reminders. Reminders are good. Yeah.
And so anyway, what was the topic?
Nothing comes up to my mind.
Nothing comes up to my mind.
So we wish you all very much to come up. And then at
60 years old, I'm out buying a Harley Davidson. And the poor wife says, what's happened to my husband? The man's gone crazy. Women do it too. I'm not just picking on the men. But why do we have this happen later in life where we have all sorts of crazy desires come up? Because we were not observing them along the way. And I'm not picking on us who are getting up in years. I'm not saying it like that because this applies to everybody.
Yeah.
And what we say is, I want to have the experience of this. There's just no way. You cannot leapfrog over this because this is not me. This is me. This Atman is who we are. And we cannot take the false identities with us. So we have to allow it to come forward so that we can learn to be undisturbed and unaffected and uninvolved. And then the mantra, do the japa practice. The japa plants the seeds. And then all of the life that we live in positive way and service to others, that's the fertilizer and the water that allows those positive seeds to grow. But there's still some seeds of weeds. And they don't go away by putting up a wall or trying to beat them down with a mantra hammer or anything like that. Anyway, I'm done.
Good.
Now, Matri will now summarize the whole thing in simple words.
We wish you all a nice flood of thoughts.
Yes, that's a good reminder. I have said, I wish upon you to have many, many thoughts.
Many thoughts.
I wish for you to have floods of thoughts.
Floods of thoughts. And at the same time, remain undisturbed.
So that you can practice being undisturbed. And because again, I remind that non-attachment is not a thing that we get more of.
And Nelly, instead of her fried eggs, is going to make a very Dutch dish, which is boerenkool, which is kale with potatoes mashed up with tofu. And the smoked
now that sounds very delicious. Now. Yeah. I want one.
Mm-hmm.
I want one, Mom.
Okay, I'll make it. But the smoked tofu,
kale
of course, is a replacement
of the tofu.
Yeah. Yes, that's a very nice
smoked tofu and curry also.
The stump is to mash.
Winter samskara, but very a healthy one.
Yeah.
Just playing with it. Okay, and now when we finish, now we get to finish, and Matri is going to make us hot chocolate.
Yes.
Do we have any hummus left?
Yes.
Maybe I'll go make myself a chocolate hummus toast with some jelly on it.
Maybe you should change that sentence a little bit, because I only heard the word I. Maybe I make I make the hot chocolate for all of us, and you make us all toast.
I'll put but you know how to spread your hummus on your toast and your jelly is a very personal matter.
It is.
You know, but
you always put too little on
it. I'll put the toast in. I can make the toast.
Yes, because you said I'll make myself a piece of toast.
Well, that's right. I'm very clear about who's the most important person in this deal.
Yeah.
And you have the same clarity because it was you who were going to the library and then on the way back mentioned that you actually really wanted hot chocolate.
Yes, it's hot chocolate weather here.
It was your desire for hot chocolate. It was not my desire for hot chocolate. And now
it wanted hot chocolate.
Now you
It
have
wants hot
awakened the hot chocolate desire in me and
because
Pooja
we
and
wish
the
everyone happy floods of thoughts.
have happy floods of thoughts,
people, and a Merry Christmas. That's how it sort of sounds.
Yeah, it's
the hot chocolate. Yes, I saw that you made it and loved it. The chocolate hummus is delicious.
It really, really is. So thank you all for hanging out and playing with us on a Sunday morning. And who was it that asked me to repeat what Swamiji said? You're going to have to play it back.
Yeah. Use no willpower to let your mantra to come. And then Swamiji said, I'm not
Parts
sure
of that is. I can tell you exactly where it is.
Come?
It's written on the bottom there. This is from
and
Art
the
of
booklet,
Joyful Living, pages
someone,
119 to 125. Maybe
someone will post the link. I'm surprised that Raj didn't already put the link in there.
Well, the link is facebook.com/Abhyasa Ashram Satsang.
In the file section, it's
and on the
UP,
left column, there's a thing called Files.
UPRS.
UPTSR.
Oh.
Yeah, and remember, we will be with Preacher Leela 5 hours from now, still going through the Book of Wisdom, discussing the wisdom of the Ishopanishad.
That will be a nice last.
That will be fun too.
Yeah. You're welcome, Mary.
Yes, Mary. Yes, everybody. Thank you all for playing. See you this afternoon, Leela. Bye all.
Smiles.
I'm going to push the button.
There you go.
I'll keep waving because I think this is a button that actually kills it.